Question number one is, what advice would you have for someone about to open an Etsy store for the first time? Um, Biggest advice that I would have would be to find your niche. Definitely finding your niche, as well as figuring out exactly what you want to sell and making sure that you know your client base before you jump straight into it, as well as do your tax research. Make sure that you are 100% sure of the laws and stuff in your state for what you're wanting to sell, as well as liabilities, things like that, insurance if you're going to be selling, like uh, body care type things or like food or whatever else. You really have to make sure that you fit the legal requirements for that kind of thing. If you're selling things that aren't necessarily going to harm anybody in any way, then you don't really have to worry about that kind of stuff besides like your taxes. Um, Definitely look into tax permits, your DBR, things like that. If you are going to be selling in person, like my city specifically, I require one for the county and I require one for the city for a tax permit. So I technically would I'm supposed to have two different tax permits if I was going to sell in person. Etsy thankfully does take care of a good bit of the tax stuff for you. So you don't really need to worry about that kind of stuff in the long run. Um, but if you are ever going to sell in person, you are going to need those items. So really find your niche, figure out what you're going to sell, figure out the legal requirements, as well as figure out your taxes. That's the big thing. And number one thing I always tell everybody, and I do this myself. I do this myself. So like, by God, am I not perfect? Watch copyright infringement. Be careful. If you're gonna sell stuff that is licensed, be fucking careful. Your best bet, sell that shit in person. Sell that shit in person. Okay. Next question on the AMA is, how do you manage international shipments? It's easy. I don't. I did international shipments for a little while when I was doing stickers, and that was a little bit easier because the shipping was a little bit cheaper. Um, but on my Etsy, I physically do not offer international shipping. France and Germany have weird VAT things that you have to do to make it easier on the person receiving the item. Um, that, and I don't want to have to deal with like um the fees that people have to pay overseas once they receive their item. I don't want them to be like, "Oh, I got my item and now I have to pay blah 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 to get it." And it's a big old mess. Long story short, I just don't offer international shipping unless it's somebody that I physically know. So like if I wanted to send something to Zoe, obviously I would send it to Zoe. If I wanted to send something to Platt, I'd send it to Platt. Um, but when it comes to general customer base, I do not offer international shipping, at least on my own. Maybe in the future, maybe in the long run, once maybe my shop gets a little bit bigger, then I'll consider offering international shipping for things that are completed and finished. Um, but at this current moment in time, I do not offer it. I do not offer it, and I'm not planning on offering it. I have had people message me on Etsy saying that they want me to do international shipping and they would be more than willing to pay extra and blah, 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 this and that. At this current moment in time, it is not in my books. Um, as well as with the nature of my items, I'm not necessarily worried about like the yarn plushie, whatever else thing. It's just catnip, but but shipping that overseas, I don't want them to have to rip into my packaging because it looks like, theoretically, let's say that there's like marijuana or something like that. They don't want them to think, I don't want them to think that that's what's in there. So that's kind of part of the reason why I haven't done any of that, because I haven't looked into it. But yeah, I don't do international. I don't do international. And you do not really take any blows by not doing international, because I mean, I've done fine this whole time not doing international shipping, and I've had maybe amount of people I can count on both hands ask me for international shipping. So out of 1,000 sales, um, yeah. Literally, long story short, I just don't offer it. I don't offer it. Da-da-da-da. Next question is, you did really well reaching 1,000 sales. What is the next milestone you're aiming to achieve? Um, Obviously, ultimately, the next milestone would be, in terms of sales, would be either 1,500 sales or 2,000 sales. Um, Ultimately, I think what I would like to do is, um, maybe I don't really think too much about goals. I just kind of go as I go. But I think in terms of like actual goals, maybe, like big goals in terms of like all time. Um, I think I'd like to get my following up on Instagram for sure. Because I'm at like 100 and some odd followers. I think I'd like to get that up to at least like 500-ish in the next year. If not more, you know. Same goes for TikTok. I've been very bad about I made a separate TikTok for my Etsy. Um, but I have not posted anything because I haven't had anything to post. Um, but but same goes for TikTok. I would like to get that up as well and get the following building on that, because obviously my client base is on TikTok. I know they are. There's no way that they're not. Everybody is on TikTok now, and I think the demographic that I fit in for my shop is like that 20 to like 35, 40 range ish, somewhere around there. Like the millennial range is where my shop fits, and a lot of millennials are on TikTok. Um, so definitely that. So Instagram and TikTok, trying to gain the following more on there. As well as I think I would like to potentially work on getting a proper I have a website. I have a website. Think a proper website. I have a Square website right now. I've only just started using it. I'm so bad at using it. Diorwin had the thing to redeem whatchamacallit for me to post, and I've taken it off because I don't have anything to list, at least to post. I will soon. I will soon because I'm trying. Here is, if anybody is curious and would like to peek. Here is my website. Um, it's obviously not, perfect, but that that's it. This is what I've done. So I am slowly but surely trying to get that up and running, but I would like to make it like a full legit website. So TikTok, Instagram following, and I think I would like to actually have a proper website. And maybe at some point even weasel my way off of Etsy. Um, start actually doing my own thing without having to worry about fees and stuff like that. So I think those are my big goals. My big goals. But yeah, that's my website. Obviously it's got like my Instagram feed and stuff like that on the bottom, and it's got like my about me and things like that, and you know, that stuff. But yeah, I think the big one is definitely the website. Definitely the website for sure. For sure. So, next question is about packaging resources. What packaging resources do you prefer to use? So, I tend to order all of my packaging resources on Amazon. Um because it's just easiest and I'm a cheap bitch. Um but I'm also picky on my packaging. So, I tend to get like uh fuck, I forgot what they're called. Poly mailers. I get poly mailers. Poly mailers for my smaller items. So like cat toys and bookmarks and things like that. I have some bubble mailers that I plan to use for bookmarks in the future because I can't fit cat toys in them. Um, but so I do just regular run-of-the-mill bubble mailers, poly mailers. I use tissue paper as like my proper like wrapping paper and stuff like that. And then in terms of like keeping everything like nice and neat and put together and organized and all that, I do have a couple stickers that I regularly use. So currently, this is the one that keeps my packaging closed. Just has a little kitty cat, says Magic Mail. Obviously, with the shop being named the Nerdy Tree Witch, you know, kind of goes with the flow. And then this I got because I'm mainly selling cat toys at the moment. But it's just a little one that says, "We hope you love your purchase." And then, you know, if you love your order, please leave me a kind review. Support is greatly appreciated. So I just use those to kind of, you know, spice it up a little bit so it's not so plain and people aren't like, "Oh, she just taped it together." I tend to order those in rolls. The rolls tend to come in like 400 to like 600 stickers or something like that. Get those on Amazon as well. And then in terms of my bigger amigurumis and stuff like that, things of like Baphomet size, Charizard size, probably the Chocobo when we're done with it. I either will get my big boxes from Walmart or Target, because I only buy them typically one at a time because I don't sell that many that fast. And then in terms of like my smaller boxes for things like the Junimo or like Psyduck or like Chikorita, ones that are like 6 inches ish. Anything above 6 inches, I tend to get the bigger box. But if it's like in that 6 inches range, I tend to use my smaller boxes, which I also got off of Amazon. They're 8 by 4 by 4 boxes. They're black. They're just cardboard. Next time I'm not getting black ones because they were too expensive. But they're like the flip top ones. So they have the piece that like comes down and then there's the 2 little side panels that like slide into it to keep it shut. It's just those. And then I just use regular run-of-the-mill packing tape, the whole line, just to keep everything shut and closed and organized, the whole nine. In terms of actual shipping itself, if I'm shipping through Etsy offers their own version of shipping. So I tend to just do it that way. I can click on somebody's purchase and it'll say get shipping labels and it'll give me a discounted rate versus what I would normally get if I were to take the package straight to USPS and pay them. So I tend to mostly do it that way. When it comes to stuff that I sell through Coffee, or if it's a commission and, you know, somebody pays me through Coffee or they pay me through PayPal or however else that could happen, I tend to use a website called Pirate Ship, because they also do discounted USPS rates. So I tend to go through them, have, you know, all my information and stuff like that in there, so it goes directly, you know, from my PO box to whoever I'm shipping it to. But discounted rates for both Etsy and Pirate Ship, so I tend to go that route. Unless it's something that I'm not sure I properly know how to ship, then I will take it straight to the post office, but 99% of the time I just do it myself. Back to packaging in terms of... I need to sit back because my back hurts. In terms of, I have these little cards that I put inside of my packages when I ship them out. Those I get off of Vistaprint. I have got them off of Gotprint, I believe, before. I tend to go through Vistaprint because A, the quality is better, and B, they tend to send out more coupons and things like that. So those I tend to order in like 100 to 250, depending on how busy I think the shop is going to be throughout the year, kind of thing. So like I typically order, I want to say not the last time I ordered, but the time I ordered before that. I think I ordered 500, because it was like right when I like lost my job and like I was like, fuck, I got to get these now while I have money because otherwise I'm not going to be able to get them in the future. So I ordered those. I think I ordered like 500 and they went pretty quickly. And then I ran out this past Christmas, so I ordered more. and I changed my packaging, that kind of thing, whatever. Um, so I believe this time I ordered 100 to 200, somewhere around there. She even does all the fancy stuff when I order. I do, because you can give it to somebody and say, "Oh, look, my daughter makes these," you know. Um, I'm pulling up my order history right now so I can kind of give you guys an estimate. So yeah, so I tend to get these little postcards and I put those inside of the packaging. Those I tend to put, like the thank you for your purchase, that kind of thing. I put like what social medias I'm on, as well as like a coupon code that says like thank you and whatever else. And then I recently, with this newer update, I put a disclaimer at the bottom that says please supervise pets when playing. Just because obviously cats are dumb. They will eat the yarn if it comes undone, that kind of thing. So those I get off of Vistaprint. So the last one I did, how many did I order? Open. I ordered 250. And that's the only thing I got in this order, and they were on sale, and I spent $46.54 for 250 carts. So that is with shipping and tax. So without shipping and tax, it was $34.50 for 250. Obviously, it's not terribly cheap, but it pays to have that extra little bit of packaging in your packaging, like that little bit of like, hey, this is my shop. Don't forget, you can come here if you need more of whatever this is, kind of thing. I get my business cards through Vistaprint as well. I don't normally send business cards with my orders unless it is like a really, 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 really big order. And I think maybe they might be like, "Oh, look, this came from here. I bought this for you," like that kind of thing. Like so I tend to, if that is the case, then I'll pop like one or two business cards in there. But I haven't bought business cards since 2021. So that gives you an idea of like how often I actually use my business cards. In terms of those, I ordered 250 yet again. And I paid $17.39 for 250 business cards. So, it's a little expensive if you're like just getting started and you're like, fuck, do I need all this stuff? If you're just getting started and you are looking at your packaging and you're like, yeah, I need to get cards like that, or I need to get business cards or whatever, start with the business cards. Don't go straight for the postcards. Go for the business cards. I'm about to go grab both of those so I can kind of give you guys an idea. But definitely start with business cards. I grabbed a box as well as the business cards. The boxes don't take very long to build, so I'm going to build one really quick and show you guys what I normally use. In terms of the poly mailer, I tend to, this is really loud. In terms of the poly mailers, I tend to get the 8x6 ones, or I'm sorry, not 8x6, 9x6. Just because they're kind of like a standard size and they fit everything. Obviously, if you're selling like t-shirts and stuff like that, you're gonna want to get a bigger size. But if it comes down to smaller items, you can typically do that. So these are the boxes that I use for like the 6-inch amigurumis. Like I said, it is one of those flip top ones. So it opens up, just standard run of the mill box. Plain old box. Obviously it's black because I'm bougie. I got them on Amazon Plaid, but I would not suggest getting the colored ones because they were very expensive. I want to say I paid like $40 for like 25 of them, and it was not worth it. But I was wanting to be bougie. And then in terms of the cards, these are my business cards. They're not anything like crazy. Not really, not anything worth bragging about. If I know where my hands go. Hello. Not anything crazy. These are my old ones. I'm planning on updating them when I need new ones, but I have so many. I literally shouldn't even order more. But these are the ones I'm using at the moment. I don't send these out very often, but so then these are my card inserts. I can angle without a shine. These are my card inserts. So the thank you code doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that I'm showing this on stream. Some like apps like Honey and stuff like that are going to pull it anyway, so it is what it is. But so obviously at the bottom I have the for cat toys, please supervise pets while playing, you know, that kind of thing. There's nothing on the back of this, so I leave that blank so that way if somebody requests like a thank you note or something like that, I can tack that on. And you know, because people like handwritten shit. I don't know what it is, but they like handwritten shit. So I tend to handwrite all of my thank you notes, that kind of thing. But I put these in with my cat toys and stuff, as well as like the bigger orders. And I tend to just, you know, set them, the cat toys and stuff on top of it and then wrap everything up in that way. So, but yeah, these are the more expensive ones. If you're just starting off, you can forego these, but definitely do not forego the business cards. In terms of that, definitely, if you're looking at starting, you know, get your basic mailers and stuff like that. Don't worry about looks so much at first, especially if you're just getting started, because packaging gets expensive once you start to get into the more fancy stuff. Personalized packaging, not really worth it. I don't think it's really something that you should do until you like actually have like a brick and mortar, that kind of thing. You're like raring to go, you're making a certain amount of money each year, that kind of thing. I have looked into it. It's expensive. If you can customize it yourself, customize it yourself. Stickers, you know, if you want to take the route of putting a vinyl sticker on each and every package that you send out that has your logo on it, fucking do it. Do it. By all means, do it. But just think of the cost, because that's going to be the biggest thing. You're starting a brand new business, you're going to want to pinch pennies. You are going to want to pinch pennies anywhere you can. That's one regret that I have, is I did not pinch pennies anywhere I could. And I ended up my first year, I don't think I really made anything in profit because I was willy-nilly buying shit, just trying to, I mean, don't get me wrong, like you have to kind of like test it out and like find your ground and figure out exactly what you're wanting to sell and make it work. But like, for the love of God, if you are going to start an Etsy shop, make sure you know what you are wanting to sell and make sure you have stuff ready to go before you open it, before you go live with it. Make sure you have it all, because I did not have anything really. I had like 2 stickers. I didn't even have them printed when I posted them. I was just so excited and I was like, Etsy, woo, I'm just gonna post all my stuff. And then I posted them. I had nothing made. Didn't even have good pictures. I had some shitty pictures that I had like done up in like Procreate. And yeah, not worth it at all. Not worth it at all. Next question is, it's starting to rain and hard. I might answer 2 just in case I lose power. Do you think it's more worthwhile to make an Etsy or a Ko-fi? I think in terms of the advertising aspect, Etsy is better. But in terms of the fees, Ko-fi is better. So it's a double-edged sword. They both have their pros and cons. They both have their pros and cons. Obviously with Ko-fi, it's a very small website. It's not very well known. They don't have a mobile app, that kind of thing. So it makes it a little hard to post if you like don't have a computer, that kind of thing. In terms of Etsy, obviously they have a royal fuck ton of fees. And their support isn't that great. So if you have issues with a customer, or, you know, let's say your account gets banned and you don't know why, it takes them forever to get back to you. Forever. So I mean, it's a double-edged sword. In the long run, I have had better success on Etsy than I have on Ko-fi, but I've only had Ko-fi for a year, 2 years. So, as well as I don't promote my Ko-fi as much as I promote my Etsy, because my Etsy has a bigger following, if that makes sense. Can people commission you through Etsy, or can you only list finished products? So you can do commissions through Etsy. I personally don't, because I've gotten some really dumb emails about it. So like the guy that messaged me and was like, can you make me a cat toy weenie? but make it look like my weenie. Like, no, motherfucker, I can't. So, and it opens a big old ticket and all that stuff. So I just tend to not offer commissions on Etsy just because of that. Yeah, so you can, but you don't, it's optional. You don't have to. I did it when I first started and it didn't really make much of a difference. People still messaged me instead of clicking the commission button. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't bother. I don't bother with it. But you could if you wanted to. I think coffee is better in terms of commissions. But to each their own. That's kind of why I run all my commissions through that rather than running them through Etsy. So the last two questions, at least from what I can see. Yeah, last two questions. We'll answer the beef nudes. Ooh, beef nudes. So were there any startup costs involved in Etsy? So when you first start with Etsy, obviously there's going to be, you know, bits and pieces that you're going to have to pay for depending on what you're selling. Startup costs being, you know, supplies, packaging, the whole nine. It really depends on what you're selling. For me, I bought a $300 Cricut when I first started, and now I don't use it. So, you know, but yeah, it's mostly going to be packaging, and it's mostly going to be whatever you're planning on selling. When it comes to Etsy itself, when you make your account, obviously you don't have to pay anything. But when you make your first listing, and from there on out, you have to pay 20 cents per listing. It doesn't come out of your account immediately, but they will tack it onto a ticket for you. And if you make a sale, so let's say you list an item for 20 cents, and then, you know, you make a sale, they're going to take their fees plus that 20 cents out of that, whatever sale you make, to pay for the fact that you listed that item. Any startup costs with coffee, negative. There are none. You don't pay anything to list an item. The only thing you potentially could pay with coffee, which yet again, this goes with coffee not having any fees. The only thing you could potentially pay with them is if you wanted to support them. They take a certain percentage out of your sales and stuff like that. Which I do because, like, I appreciate what they do with not having any fees. Because then I only get like a little bit taken from them, and then a little bit taken from PayPal, and that's it. So yeah, no startup costs with coffee except for the same old, you know, cost of product as well as packaging. Yeah. Yeah, so it's really straightforward. So Etsy charges 20 cents per listing, as well as when you sell that item, if it's a renewable item, you get charged that 20 cents again. So they charge every time you renew it. I think that was it. Besides, obviously, advertising, things like that as well. It's really circumstantial. It really depends on what direction you're taking with it. So, and then the last question is the most, like, question of them all. It has nothing to do with Etsy. So if you have any more Etsy questions, now is the time. Ask me them, because we're probably going to be ending stream here soon, because I don't want to lose power, obviously, and then just whoop. But the last question is, what's your favorite yarn? So I prefer to use acrylic yarn, just because obviously cost, it's cheaper. I'm not a fan of wool. It makes me feel very itchy. Like, you think my nose is itchy right now. Imagine me working with wool yarn. I'd be dying. I do like, brand wise, Big Twist from Joann's is like top tier in terms of value yarn. And a couple of their other ones as well, like their softer yarns and things like that. In terms of your basics, like your blacks and your whites, I prefer Red Heart. I've gotten black and white in Big Twist before, and I feel like the strands are very, very tiny in comparison to the rest of their line. Like I feel like it's just twisted it's twisted too tight or something, or it's just not as full as the other colors. Um, so blacks and whites, I tend to go with Red Heart, but when it comes to other colors, I tend to go with Big Twist. And then if there's a color that's like not quite what Big Twist has, but potentially Hobby Lobby has it, and I love this yarn, I will get it from there. I love this yarn is like the top in terms of like quality because it's so soft, but it's very expensive. Runs for about $4.99 a skein, which is a little steep for my liking, but it is good yarn. Plaid, you caught it! Yay! Caught the biggest fish in this stream. It is 4% bigger than the average. Caught the heaviest fish. It's 66% lighter than the average. What is this? Is today just like a fish day? Is there like a fish event going on or something? Is it because it's raining? Like, what is going on? Fishing minigame? I don't know. That's weird. Okay, whatever. Congrats, Plaid. I don't know what the fuck that is, but congrats. Okay. But anyways, back to yarn. So like Hobby Lobby has Yarn Bee. I like Yarn Bee as well, but it's not. I get the fur yarns from there. So like the like with the Moogle patterns, how they have the fluff around the neck. I tend to use it for that. But yeah, I would say Big Twist and I love this yarn are top for me. Obviously I skew more for Big Twist because it's on sale more, as well as, you know, cost, the whole nine. But in terms of feel and the way it actually works up, I love this yarn. But it's expensive. Heckin' expensive. So like I bought that big thing of orange for the Chocobo beak, and that was $4.99. Well, it was on sale. It was on sale, so it was, I think it was like 30% off. But still it was close to $4. I was like, oh, that's a lot, but you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. So yeah. Past that, I like cotton yarns, but if I do cotton yarns, it has to be sugar and cream. I don't like any of the other ones, and it has to be the regular sugar and cream. And I could only use cotton yarn for like things that you would think cotton yarn would be used for, like face scrubbies and like soap savers, things like that. All right. Well, that was it for the AMA. Thank you everybody who asked questions. I greatly appreciate that. That just goes as well. If anybody has any more questions about what it's like to run a business, that kind of thing, let me know. Let me know. You can DM me on Discord. I'll answer when I can. If you just are not sure, just just let me know. Let me know, and I will assist as best as I can.